Esports had stadiums, sponsors, and million-dollar prize pools. It had Carmac, a guy who didn't start behind a desk, but behind a monitor. Before ESL, before the business suits, he was a skilled player deep in the Unreal tournament scene. Match by match, frag by frag, he helped shape what esports would become. But this isn't about the VP or the organizer. The first real love, and where it all really began for him, Unreal Tournament.
Hi, everybody. Welcome into another installment of what is to be our, I don't know, maybe 5th or 6th episode in this Players Profile series. And actually, I think today is perhaps the first departure strictly from the point of view that we aren't interviewing someone who is most well known as a player, but is most well known for everything that they have done after being a player of this game. Our guest today is Carmac. Carmac, let's start off this way and have you introduce yourself.
Hi, my first name is Michał. I'm from Poland. Unreal Tournament cost me my college, so I got kicked out of college because I was much too much into Unreal Tournament back in 2001, 2002, and those years. But Unreal Tournament got me into esports in general and pro gaming. From being a player of the game, I became a journalist covering FPS games, and then more and more games, and eventually I transitioned into running major esports tournaments, and I, until today, since 2009 up until today, I've been chiefly, sometimes partly, responsible for major tournaments like the Intel Extreme Masters. So if you want to go to a massive esports event in Germany with 12,000 people roaring in the stadium, looking at a big stage with $1 million prize purse, then and you are from the Unreal Tournament community, then you should know that one of your own has a hand in organizing that type of stuff.
Yeah,
these days.
Absolutely. And I got to say, it is an absolute honor for me to be interviewing you and to elevate this very small little series that we've been doing here. So thank you so much for joining us today. Would you prefer that I call you Carmac or Michał?
I don't care. Call me Susan if you like. I don't really mind.
Right. No, you joke, but I'll call you Susan for the rest of the interview. All right, so let's start this way. This is the same question I ask everybody that I talk to. What are your first memories of playing Unreal Tournament, and what did it mean to you at that time?
So, I come from Poland, which in the 90s and early 2000s was not a very rich country.
Yeah.
And internet infrastructure was behind other countries in the west of Europe and so on and so forth. So not everyone had a PC at home. Not everyone had a good internet connection at home. And I had to visit my friends to play games or see how games like Quake are played or Unreal Tournament are played. And my first memories of seeing Unreal Tournament was a neighbor of mine had a PC and downloaded a demo of Quake 3 and downloaded a demo of Unreal Tournament. At the time, globally, I'd say Quake 3 was the much cooler game. It had a kind of a better brand, so to say. And I was absolutely fascinated overall by the idea of being in a virtual space with other people and running around and shooting them while sitting on your ass in a chair. The first multiplayer game I played was Quake 2 in an internet cafe. I was absolutely hooked. It was the most fascinating experience for me. That's all I could think about after I started playing. And when UT and Quake 3 came out, that was the beginning of the boom of internet cafes in Poland. So, you'd have a little gaming center with a bunch of PCs that were good enough to play the game.
Mm-hmm.
You'd come in, you'd pay, $1 an hour or something to play and compete. And it was a very, very cool subculture. And the majority of internet cafes where I lived they had Quake 3,
Mm-hmm.
but the one I went to, because of it was started by a guy from a role-playing games community that I was also part of. So I went there, and they all were playing Unreal Tournament, so I was forced to play it, and then I got absolutely hooked and wanted to know everything about the game and study the game inside out and become as good as you could be. And I did become decently good. Probably, as you said correctly, my playing career probably would not have warranted me being interviewed today about Unreal Tournament, but hey, I'm still here.
Tell me more a little bit about that feeling of like starting to get good, because I'm always curious. Everybody I talk to, I ask them, when did you start to realize that you were getting good and that you were starting to beat the other players? Because I feel like for me, that started to be a little bit of a confidence boost. It was one of those things where I didn't feel like I was good enough, for a very long time. And then once that switch flipped, I got way better, way faster, because I suddenly had the confidence to keep competing. Was it similar for you?
So it's been so long ago, but I think I was generally quite decent. But I got my early advantages from the fact that I was in touch with the local Quake community, and the guys showed me some early pro gaming tournaments, tournaments with a $20,000 prize purse and things like that, which I thought was, wow, people are playing for that kind of money.
Yeah.
So I learned very quickly how to download demos of people playing Quake, Quake 2, Quake 3, Unreal Tournament as well. The fact that I was able to speak English well, I studied English at the university, so I was able to speak it very, very well. So I got in touch with the online communities, and I had a lot of knowledge and conversation with other people about the game and demos that I was analyzing. And I think my biggest the biggest early influence on me and my style of play was actually Quake 2. And it's deathmatch. All those skills in terms of tactics, they're transferable. So things like map control, things like weapon control, things
timing,
like timing, advantages, positioning, concepts like, okay, you're playing against a much better player mechanically. You need to do something else. Maybe you turtle for 10 minutes and just wait for that one opportunity, and then you get the guy, you spawn kill him, you win 2-0 or something like that. I also have to say I think I was a bit smarter than some of the players that I was playing against. There was this map, I don't know if I remember the name. There was this map where it was only rocket launchers, like a round
I think you're describing
square in the middle,
Morpheus?
and 2 elevators. No. Morpheus was like
Morbius.
outside.
Yeah.
Morbius, I think. Morbius 2. And at the time, it was, skill and movement and dodging rockets, and people would get the better position upstairs and jump on you with rockets. And we would play one-on-one on these maps because we didn't know any better. And, the map obviously is dumb as shit. But I discovered that you can just take the enforcer and just up the other guy, even though he had a very terrible weapon, but you just shot the guy from a distance. And a guy who was much better than me in general, in overall skill, was yelling and cursing in the internet cafe because he couldn't beat me on the map. Just because I discovered that, okay, you take a hit scan weapon, you keep your distance, and you just pop the guy with an enforcer, and it's done. But yeah, I think it's the knowledge that I brought from, let's say, the outside, that gave me an edge and allowed me to be having the right weapon out at the right time is completely it loses value, completely loses value in is replaced. Like if you don't miss a shot with a sniper rifle, you cannot lose the game.
Yeah.
You just it's not possible to lose the game anymore.
Yeah.
And the one thing I want to say is, I think when people talked about balancing weapons, at the time I was advocating to simply tweak the upper limit of ammo in every gun. So you'd have to, in order to continue using the same gun over and over, you'd have to run around and collect more ammo, and also tweak the amount of ammo available on the map, so that if you want to continue using the pulse gun or the minigun, then you have to become quite predictable.
Yeah.
Or you have to take, different routes, longer routes, and things like that.
Yeah.
And I would have wanted to see what that would do to the game. But if you're running around with an effectively infinite bank of sniper ammo, of course you're going to use the sniper rifle a lot.
The biggest example that we have, and it was argued over many times, but in Deck 16, I believe by default there are something like 100 or like 96 available ammo, and so the gun can hold 48. Yeah, it's crazy.
I tested it. It's possible on Deck 16 to run around with your fire button pressed and never run out of sniper ammo.
Sounds about
that's
right.
Ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. This actually opens up an interesting conversation segue here. We're talking about game balance, and we're talking about the idea of it just doesn't make sense in the modern era of games that are out there to have something where you can run around with one of arguably the most powerful weapon regularly available in the game, the sniper rifle, because it does so much damage. It's hit scan, there's no damage fall off or anything like that. Because of that, you've got this broken gun that you can spam constantly while running around the map, picking up enough ammo to pick up things over and over again. And I think that it's stuff like this, it's little stuff like this that prevents a game like UT99 from ever really truly being able to get big again. Now, I also think that there's an element to the idea that arena first-person shooters, I don't know that they're ever going to have a moment again. I think that, and I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's that they're hard to watch from an esports perspective. I don't know that they are, I don't know what it is about it, but there's something about arena first-person shooters that I think Diabolical was probably the last big attempt to get something going. And it had a brief, flash in the pan moment, but it didn't really stick. What do you think about this kind of conundrum surrounding arena first-person shooters? You are so intimately tied into the esports scene. What is it that they're missing or not missing, or what could be done to get the interest back? Because I'm addicted, you're addicted. It's not that it's not an addictive game, so there's got to be something else there.
It's simply, if you look at the evolution of multiplayer video games, if you take, let's say let's assume that Quake was the original game, Quake 1. I'm simplifying history. There's obviously games before Quake 1, but Quake 1 was the first one with the full mouse look and everything. It's an extremely difficult game to play. It's extremely difficult to pick up. Try playing tennis, real tennis. You're against somebody that knows what they're doing. You're not going to score any point. You're not going to be able to return any balls if it's your first tennis game, right? Quake is like that. Down the line, Quake 3 became kind of more accessible, but still, you sit down to play Quake against somebody competent or on a tournament, you're going to get destroyed and you're going to be in the negative score until the end of the game. And it's not a pleasant experience at all. It's a masochistic experience. And at the time, when those games were big, there wasn't much choice in terms of what games are available. And also the player base was a bit different. The player base was very dedicated. There had to be people that understood networking early on, how to install things on their PC and everything. So there were clearly people who kind of had the propensity to want to learn and delve deeper. Then the next games that came along was Counter-Strike, which took away a lot of the mechanical skills and reflex and that dexterity that action FPS games required of you. And it was enough to run around the corner, and I'm going to offend some CS people here, run around the corner, get scared first, press the mouse button, kill a guy, and so I can actually kill somebody. I mean, I literally watched it happen in internet cafes in Poland where people would get absolutely destroyed in Quake and just reject the game. And Counter-Strike was amazing because it was much slower and they could get a kill every now and then. Following that, so it's the trend is that you're removing the initial bad experience from people. So Quake being super difficult to making Quake 3 being slightly more forgiving to Counter-Strike, which is even more forgiving, to then a game like PUBG, where the bad experience in Counter-Strike is you get battered over and over and over, and if you leave early, you get banned or whatever. So you're kind of committed to having a face punch for a half hour, which isn't fun. In PUBG, if you lose, it's like playing on the slot machine. You die, you start another game. So the negative experience playing PUBG is completely eliminated. And a lot of the skill in PUBG shifted away from the ultra mechanical skill in Quake to actually game knowledge, where the more you play the game, the more it just gets put in your head and you become better simply not by training, but with time. So in Quake 3, in order to do on DM6 the bridge to rail jump, you had to spend hours on an empty map running around and hop, oh, I didn't make it, let me try again. Hop, I didn't make it. And over and over. It's the most boring thing in history. Whereas, in a PUBG type game, you can enjoy it immediately. And the moment they kill you start a new game. So it's a trend of eliminating bad experiences from game to game. And the truth is, people just don't want to have their face punched for 10 minutes straight by somebody. That's not fun.
I think you're onto something here. I think you're onto something. But allow me to take what you have said and create a appeal, because I do believe that in any game that's out there right now, there are people who are willing to put in those hours. They are the ones who climb to the top and they stay there because they're willing to put in the hours to actually learn how even, people who are playing Dota or League or anything like that, you start out, you're not very good. It is pretty easily accessible to you, and the punishment isn't that bad at first, and so you stick through a little bit longer and a little bit longer. But the people who are getting to, the very top of these leaderboards, they're definitely grinding just as much as you have to in something like UT or Quake. I would make an appeal to the people who are watching this who feel like they are the type of gamer who wants to prove that they can take the punishment and rise to the top anyway, that a game like UT is the game for you. Because you're right, there is a steep learning curve. But once you get it, oh man, is it rewarding, right? It is, and you think about it like chess. You're playing your opponent in a way where you're thinking about how they think about things, and you're thinking about predictions 2 steps down the road, and you're planning things about, oh, I can't kill them here because then they're going to respawn on that side of the map there, and I want to maintain armor control, so I have to wait a moment. And so it's patience, it's dutiful gameplay, and I feel like that is something that is missing a lot from games that have stripped out the difficulty and games that have stripped out the struggle.
I want to disagree on one thing. Games don't strip out difficulty. The best proof that the difficulty is still there is that the best players still continue to win consistently. It's just that the skill required to win in the game is shifting away from something that is not conducive to like an instantly rewarding experience to another area. And I think the older games are kind of, they're not up with the times where they're built to be instantly rewarding.
Yeah.
They're also quite difficult. I think that the best chance this genre that Quake and Unreal Tournament are in, for it to be big in esports or in pro gaming specifically as a show, is if they are, so Quake 1 and Quake 2 used to be multiplayer segments of a single player experience that was very big and popular and mainstream, right? So imagine like a Fortnite has a one-on-one action FPS mode, and is it still the biggest game in the world? I think it is.
Yeah, probably.
And Fortnite has a gigantic fan base, and then those people that are, the one-on-one players, there is a gigantic audience for watching Fortnite one-on-one, and Fortnite one-on-one, or whatever modification of Fortnite one-on-one that has a similar skill set to Quake or Unreal Tournament, could then be a lot of fun for people who already play Fortnite but don't necessarily engage in in like the most difficult mode. But it would then be accessible to them from the point of view of the familiarity of the game, the genre, knowing how to connect into it, and being in the community that talks about this stuff. So I think if there is a massive game that has a really fun team component or a really fun battle royale component, but it also has an extremely fun to watch one-on-one component, that is the environment that has the potential to resurrect one-on-one deathmatch.
Yeah.
Because you have a gigantic audience then. It used to be when I started working for ESL and took over Intel Extreme Masters, I thought, okay, well, Intel Extreme Masters isn't cool. We need to add Quake Live. And it had, those personalities, those very vivid personalities, very easy stories to tell of this guy versus that guy, the Russian versus the American, the shit talker versus the gentleman, all of that. And it was a time when streams would kind of blend games. So there would be a Counter-Strike game on the main stage, followed by a Quake game, followed by a Counter-Strike game, and the audiences would just watch Quake and enjoy the living shit out of it, waiting for the next game. It was really accessible. So there was an audience there that kind of watched a quick game of Quake before the next game of Counter-Strike was set up, or World of Warcraft, or whatever. Quake was that game at the time that added a really big coolness factor to Intel Extreme Masters. And when I took the decision then to discontinue Quake so that we could invest more into StarCraft, a lot of people on the forums of the non-Quake games said, I really enjoyed watching Quake, right? So I feel like it could be the same effect if, let's say, there is a big game, and within that big game, there is a modification for one-on-one that is easy to watch for everybody that plays any modification of that game. Let's say it's Fortnite or whatever. I think there you have a big audience to enjoy an action FPS. But outside of that, I think no chance, honestly speaking.
I think you're onto something. And we've talked about this within our, our admin group and within our community in general. Just that feeling of like, well, we all love this game so much and we all want for new blood to come in and to have more people to play with, and we'll take the time to teach people how to play. But fundamentally, it is too little too late. And additionally, the software itself, the game itself, is lacking some fundamental features. Matchmaking, for example, right? If you are a random person joining in, the idea that you would have to join an external chat program to then coordinate a pickup game to play, no, it's too much. It's just too much. Like it's far too much barrier to entry to get new people in. You need to make it completely streamlined. And if I could make a plea to the old Unreal people patching the game right now, I would say put on the top of your feature list some type of matchmaking. That might be a good way to get a lot more people invested in an old game. Because I do think that retro gaming is having a moment. Old games are popular right now. The idea of going back to gaming's roots and finding out where these games that are popular now came from, what inspired them, right? We wouldn't have Fortnite without Unreal Tournament or Quake or any of these other things. And so some people, as they start to get a little bit older and have been playing games for a long time, are looking back and going, well, what were they playing before? How did they do this before? And so I think you're seeing a little bit of a resurgence in these kinds of games. You brought up some of your more professional work, and I do want to. I would feel awful not asking you about some of that stuff and just focusing on these old games. I know you're making a big transition to a different arena for next year. Is that correct?
Yes, it's correct. So, I told the story a million times. What's one more time?
No, you don't have to tell the story again. I'm only asking in general because I'm curious how it feels for you to say goodbye to something that felt so intimate and close for so long, to look toward a new opportunity.
So, I must say I am a sentimental person. So it's a great deal of melancholy that I feel when it comes to, because we started one of the very first esports arena events in the world back in 2013, and it blew everyone's mind. I have never dreamt of anything like it being possible, and the event was just not big enough to accept all the people that want to buy tickets. So we went to another arena in a city an hour away, that essentially doubles the number of fans we can have inside for the tournament. But I'm not going to hide transitioning the legacy of the tournament from its second ever location, because the first ever location was in Germany. Then we moved it to Poland, to Katowice. Then we moved it to Krakow, Poland. Transitioning it again is a process that is, it's a heart transplant. It's risky. So you have to convince the audience that they're watching the same tournament. But at the same time, I must say it's the most rewarding thing ever to create a platform for people where imagine you sit down, you put on your headset, you play the video game that you absolutely love, and it has a nail-biting conclusion, and you're completely, utterly in the zone, and you're left in a one-on-one situation with another opponent, and it's down to the wire, and you have to hit that shot, and you click that mouse, and you get the headshot, and suddenly your senses just open up, and the earth shakes with the vibrations of 12,000 voices and the noise and the lights and everything, and all your senses physically, including your spine shivering, the hairs on your arms stand up, and you look around and you feel like the most relevant person in the world. Your click of a mouse literally made the earth tremble in that moment. To be able to create the conditions for somebody to get that kind of buzz, the only thing better than doing that is just to be in that chair and doing the headshot. But getting people together to enjoy esports in that way, to creating a platform for some of the most talented people around the world to express their talent like that, and for other people to enjoy and believe in it so much that it's tear-inducing. Players, our tournaments are now won by people who are wearing diapers when the first champions were picking that trophy up. So it's a generational thing where people are now dreaming of winning that trophy. They're realizing the dream as a 10-year-old kid of, seeing that esports tournament for the very first time, and then they attend it and win it. It is so damn special. It's beautiful to be part of something like that, I have to say.
I can only compliment you on your beautiful delivery. It is truly a show of your passion, and I have to say, is very eloquently put. That is a beautiful way to describe what goes into it and how to encapsulate and grab hold of those heartstrings that we are all doing this for. It's more than just pride. It's more than just intention and effort and hard work. It is, as you put it, about community. It's about this thing that we've all gathered together to do. And it's really very clear that you speak from the heart, and it's really shows. And so on behalf of gamers everywhere, I thank you. I told this story. I told this story right before we kicked off, but I think I'll share this just so that the people watching understand how truly generational this is and how honored I feel to be able to talk to you. Back in the day,
I did ask you. You don't use that word. Listen, I'm just a guy.
I'm just a guy. Yeah.
We're all just guys.
It's true.
Like you.
It's true. You as a community member, were heavily involved in the creation of a video that still exists on YouTube. You can go and find this video. It was basically a frag video, a highlight video from Unreal Tournament called XSU Gold, and it was one of the first videos that I had seen that really made me feel like I was involved with something cool. Like I was like, oh man, this thing is awesome, and I do this, I play this game, and the music influenced me even to this day, and I still listen to some of the music from that soundtrack, and I want to thank you for that, and I want to thank you on behalf of people everywhere for the hard work that you have done and the passion that you have, because it is clear that you are very passionate about this, and it's contagious and infectious, and we all feel it because you help us feel it. So thank you again for that. I do have to ask a little bit about where you are now in your gaming cycle, in your work-life game time management. How many games are you playing these days? Do you still get a chance to play games, or do you care anymore? Like,
So I used to play Unreal Tournament on and off with a friend of mine that's still in the community. Excuse me. At the time, he wasn't spending as much time as the majority of the clan. It used to be clans. Everybody says team.
Yeah.
I used to be clans. We used to be actually hands down the best clan in Poland for Unreal Tournament. And I was we didn't have an official leader, but I was kind of the leader for the clan. I set the strategies, tactics, and stuff like that. He kind of started playing more actively later on, and I would play one-on-one games with him. And they were very competitive affairs to the degree that I would yell curses out the window and stuff like that. My then girlfriend would be coming home from work, and the window was open. We would be in a condo, right? So lots of different people.
She hears you from downstairs.
She hears the phrase, "You fucking whore, I'm gonna kill you, I'm gonna destroy you, I'm gonna punish you, you fucking bitch," right? So and that's apparently what the rest of the the window was open, that the rest of the neighbors obviously heard a lot of that, so I had to contain myself. But I used to play Unreal Tournament with him quite a bit, but these days, as I said, I don't enjoy what they've done to the game. And easier for me to just move on to other games and spoil the enjoyment of the people that clearly do enjoy it still. So more power to anyone that still plays and enjoys Unreal Tournament. That's fine. These days I play, listen to this, Blood Bowl 3.
Okay.
So if you're into Tabletop Warhammer, Tabletop Warhammer in the fantasy universe, there is a tabletop kind of rugby / American football with orcs and goblins and elves and dwarfs and undead kicking the shit out of each other and trying to get the ball into the end zone. That tabletop game got converted into a PC game, similar to kind of chess from the board onto the PC or your app on your phone. It's a game with good graphics and everything, and I'm a competitive player in it. And last ladder season, my team was top 20 in the world.
Very nice.
I played in the ladder playoffs as well. So I'm a very decent player. I can't say I'm world class, but I'm a very decent player. I hold my own. I've won competitions and leagues before in that game, and it's basically my life's. My life cycle is outside. If you remove work, I count my days from one soccer Liverpool FC game to another. I'm a Liverpool FC fan. And then the other clock ticks from one Blood Bowl 3 league match to another. So I am a die-hard, try-hard competitive player in a game for old people
I love
that
it.
doesn't require any
I love it.
mechanical skill.
I have a. I have
45, by the way. So
I find myself collecting dead games. The other game that I spend probably too much time playing is Heroes of the Storm, Blizzard's arguably failed MOBA, and I think it's great. It's so fun. The matches are short, and I don't know, it just hooked me. It hooked me the right way. And I've played other MOBAs and they were good, but this one got me. I just like the quick kind of brawl nature of it. But yeah, so I feel similarly in that, yeah, we've got these other games that we kind of latch onto and play out. There's a
gaming's fun. I teach my children. So my daughter's I'd be lying if I said she's a die-hard Counter-Strike fan, but she does enjoy shooting bots in Valorant and Counter-Strike. My son does as well. My daughter thinks I'm the coolest dad ever. I mean, I got my kids to go to our tournament, and do you know what a front of house is at a concert? Okay, so we went to the front of house. The kids got to operate, the flamethrowers on the stage. So we press the button of big flames on stage. So I'm the coolest dad in the world. I let them play. I teach them to play and stuff like that. So I have to say that this has been quite fun. And one mind-blowing fact is that my children, and probably the children of the people who are listening to this, they as conscious people, they do not know a world that has no esports in it. It's natural for them.
Yeah.
Right? My generation I had to convince people around me that esports is a thing, that esports has this and this and this value, that it's competition just like any other.
Yeah.
And for my kids, it's just natural.
Yeah.
And arguably, they care much more about it than they do about my Liverpool matches that I watch on television.
Yeah.
They just walk by and don't care.
I remember having to convince my mother that it was okay for me and my two brothers to load up all of our family PCs into the back of a truck and drive one state over to play at a local LAN party with some other friends who were in a clan that I was involved with at the age of maybe 14. She was like, "Are you going to get murdered? What is this thing that you're going to do?" And I was like, "No, Mom, we're just nerds going to play a video game together." And so, yeah, the world has changed pretty dramatically and has shifted very, very quickly to not only accept, but embrace esports and embrace the idea that gaming is an industry. And like all industries, there's room for a lot more, people think that they've missed the boat on gaming, or they've missed the boat on these kinds of things. You haven't, all right? Like, if you're dedicated and you put in effort and you're trying and you've got something to show, you'll get a following. You'll get people who want to watch. And if you've got good competition, you'll get competitors. And if you've got the effort involved, so often people talk about, oh, what do we need to do to trick the algorithm or whatever? Effort. Just put in effort. People love watching other people put in effort because it makes them feel good about the effort that they put in, and it inspires them to want to put in effort. And so I think that that's very true with gaming, because with almost every game out there, you can't get to the top unless you try, and try really hard. And so I think that that's one of the things that I have always loved about gaming. And I'm so happy to hear that you are sharing that with your kids. That's great.
It's fantastic.
I've only got one other question for you, and I've had your time now for about 45 minutes or so, and so I'm sure we can talk on this for a little while. But my last question for you is, you have a lot of experience in a lot of different games, and here's your one chance to finally inflame the internet forever. Quake or UT? Which is it, and why is it UT?
So, the answer is complex.
Okay.
Because it's like, I'm assuming you've had. I'm looking at your beard and everything, so you've been in one or more relationships before,
yes.
Right? And if you compare the people you've been with, like, okay,
I love the analogy so far.
This one cooks very well.
Okay.
This one's very good in bed.
Okay.
And it's not the same. So
Okay.
depending on which parameters you pick, the answer would be different.
Mm-hmm.
So what I'm driving at is like, I think to play Unreal Tournament for sure.
Mm-hmm.
There was just, I found that like there was a lot of really good depth in the game.
Mm-hmm.
So Unreal Tournament was a lot of fun to play. However, when it comes to watching, I have to give it to Quake.
Yeah.
So to watch Quake was fluid.
Mm-hmm.
Quake was really the movement felt kind of intuitive, whereas the Unreal Tournament movement is very unintuitive to watch.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So the strafe jumping, bunny hopping, and Quake was just looks like they bum 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 bum. Okay, fair enough, and you intuitively feel like this makes him go quicker, right? And the weapons are simple to understand,
Sure.
and the skill on display is simple to understand, but to play Unreal Tournament, come on, like no, just that. But I must say, when it comes to like the most fascinated I've ever been with esports, it was watching Quake. There was the first kind of absolutely groundbreaking experience for me was in 2003 at the Electronic Sports World Cup in France, in Poitiers. I went there, I was invited as a journalist to watch it, and they had an auditorium with like a cinema screen, and PCs on stage, cinema screen, and probably like 400, 600 people sitting there. And it was the Russian Cooler versus the American 04. 04 was the World Cyber Games champion, the reigning World Cyber Games champion from the year before. So kind of the proper world championship. And Cooler was a very controversial player already because he was a bit of a shit talker. He was 16 and he took a dive in a group stage match at that World Cyber Games to eliminate a famous and a well-liked player. So there was a lot of controversy already around the guy, and Cooler sat down to play, and they gave them for the very first time heartbeat monitors. And it was the very first time somebody approached esports from a point of view of how to make it an actual spectacle. Because before that, it was, okay, there's going to be a projector and there's going to be a way to just watch the game. It wasn't like a show integrated with, you could see the players, and the players would walk out to music, and the screen would be split. You'd see the POV of one player, the other player, the face of one player, the face of another player, his heartbeat and stuff like that. So there was this moment in the game in the grand final where, and it, by the way, was fascinating to see gamers from different culture behave differently. So in the group stages, in the tournament area, I'm going to come back to the stage in a second.
I'm on the journey with you.
Area, in the group stages, you had Americans who played from home mostly. So they would just mutter something on there. You got to be kidding me! Kind of under their breath when they were playing. There were Swedes who would also quite often play from home, but also in internet cafes. So they would talk a little bit. And there would be Russians who would yell out and talk shit to their opponents, because if you play in an internet cafe, that's exactly what you would do. Like take off an ear cup and say, "You fucking noob, I hope, blah, 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 blah." Right? So you'd see that. And in the grand final, you had a guy who was, I think at the time, probably at 21, 22, 20, what was he? Probably something like maybe 20, 21, something like that. And he had a guy who's barely 16, sitting and playing. And Cooler was winning. And it was like the last 2 minutes, 90 seconds or whatever. And he's like just hiding by the teleporter, right? Just hiding. So the guy would jump through the teleporter. He would himself jump into that teleporter back, and start running away again. So burn as much time as you can. And you're seeing 0-4, the American, my good friend John, actually, I'm still in touch with him until today. And he's reacting, and his head is moving and swiveling, and he's muttering something under his breath, and he's visibly kind of like living with the game. And then you see Cooler, his face just like a statue carved out of marble, just stares at the screen, completely motionless. And he looks cool as a cucumber. And then what you see is you've got the heart rate monitor, 0-4 around 100, and fucking Cooler, the Russian 16-year-old, that looked calm, like his heart was pounding like this. And that contrast, that entire atmosphere was so incredible, and it was so fascinating and enthralling to watch. And that story of that kid that came out of nowhere, and nobody had heard of him until 6 months before, and he's like destroying everybody. And then you have this seasoned champion that's about to be dethroned, and that seasoned champion looks stressed but isn't, and the Russian isn't looking stressed but is very stressed. It was just such a good show that, you just had to follow it. You just had to fall in love with it.
Yeah.
And Unreal Tournament, unfortunately, just wasn't as fun to watch.
Yeah.
But I hope one of your guests is my Swedish friend Björn Sunesson, Zolg, who was second at that tournament, beat the American favorite Fatality in the semis, played a marvelously beautiful, intelligent match, and lost in the grand final to Gitz, probably the most accomplished Unreal Tournament player of all time. I had the opportunity to meet them and play with them and all of that stuff. So hopefully you get to speak to both of them. And the music that you refer to in XSU Gold is credit to Zork the Swede.
Yeah. Well, I'll if I get the chance to talk to him, I'll definitely give him a thank you.
Yeah, he's influenced my musical tastes quite a bit at the time.
Those Swedes, they know what they're doing.
Oh yeah. UT better to play, Quake better to watch.
Yeah, I do think this actually is. I swear this is my last question. I swear, but we can go on. It's up to you. Well, for sure. Well, I've got a list of things here, but we'll see where the conversation goes. My point is that production value makes a big difference. It makes a really, really big difference. I've done a lot of theatrical productions in my life. I like to get on stage and to perform, and I don't think that people understand that just even the simplest little thing can make a huge difference on the perception of an overall production quality and stuff like that. Having good lighting, having good, sound design, things like that. And that being the case both for people in an arena watching something and for the people who are watching online. The visuals, the transitions, the cuts, all that kind of stuff, they all add up. All the details add up. Have you had the forethought? I know that you were instrumental in helping to build and grow these tournaments. How much of that was you saying, no, we need this stuff. We need it to be more like a production. And how much pushback did you receive from other producers or things like that who just didn't see that as being valuable because they thought it was about just the gameplay?
I think everyone was really on board in terms of like how to make that we needed to make this a really good and entertaining show. The discussions were less about whether or not to do that, but how to achieve it. And this is a pet peeve of mine. So here's where what I've kind of, let's say, I think I brought to the table, and I don't think I'm the only one. I'm not going to be immodest here, but when you play a video game like Unreal Tournament or any video game, your actions are represented by pixels which are identical to my pixels, and are identical to the next guy over's pixels. So the body language that you normally get to appreciate and see in sports isn't there.
Mhm.
If you go to a random NBA game and you've never watched a basketball match in your life, and nobody gives you any context whatsoever, there's just a team in the, I don't know, the blue tops and a team in yellow tops or whatever,
Mhm.
it's going to take you about, I don't know, 5 minutes to figure out who you want to cheer for.
Mhm.
Based on what? Based on the body language of the players, right? You're going to
Sure.
have that bow-legged guy that reminds you of your cousin Vinny,
Mhm.
and you're going to cheer for the bow-legged guy's team, or you had that, ginger asshole that reminds you of that guy that had sex with your girlfriend in high school,
Mhm.
and you're going to cheer against that team or whatever. In esports, people sit in front of monitors. Their movements are constrained and concealed and hidden, and you're essentially watching what may as well be bots running around and
Right.
shooting, right? So the one thing I've always paid attention to is for us to have devices and measures to bring out body language as much as possible. So I'll give you an example. The tournament that I've referenced in Katowice, Poland, it has a flight of steps from the stage entrance down to the center of the stage that you have to go down in order to be on stage. And why is that a flight of steps? Well, because when you walk down steps, you're using more different body parts and muscles
Mhm.
compared to just walking 3 steps forward, for example.
Yeah.
So you're expressing more body language as opposed to a more traditional stage setup environment,
Yeah.
and stuff like that. So another nuance like that is that we try to position the trophy as far away from the stage as possible. Why? Because what happens when there's GG and the players celebrate at first,
Mhm.
it's peak adrenaline. Then they go over to the other team and they kind of try to be polite and wash that
Mhm.
happiness off their face. And we want to be able to give them time after they have the handshake to go and lift the trophy and transition their mindset from being polite and kind of calm and
Yeah.
flat to soaking in the environment, the
Mhm.
lights, the arenas, make it what do you call that? That moment that you remember forever. Make it a core memory for
Mhm.
them. And the longer the walk to the trophy, the higher the chance that they will make that core memory because they'll have the time to
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 process,
change their
yeah.
frame of mind from I was just being polite and kind of serious
Mhm.
to I'm going back and I'm going to celebrate without any
Yeah.
inhibition. So we look at details like that um, to ensure that there's as much of that player personality in the show as you can possibly get. And that even is like how much space does the player have behind him on stage
Mhm.
so that when he does celebrate, his body language isn't like, okay, hold on,
Yeah.
let me get out of
Yeah,
here and
yeah.
stuff like that. So it's all these types of details that we look at to make it the best possible
Yeah.
show, and many other details as well.
That's great. Yeah, I also
Um,
think that the distance of the trophy being further away is also symbolic of the journey that it takes to get there. That you've come this far and you've got to take that last step. You have to go that distance to get what you want. I think that's great. I think it's a great detail. Is there advice that you would have for people who are you 20 years ago, right? People who are starting little communities now for games that are coming up for the next esports league that we can't even fathom right now. What would be your advice of the battles that you have fought that you would pass on to them?
mm, mm. I would say that I I found that taking advantage of the fact that there is a sports structure that exists already,
Mm-hmm.
and let's copy that because esports is the same as sports. It's a very false friend. It can only take you 60% of the way towards where you want to be. but it's not one-to-one. It doesn't transfer very well. There are leagues out there in esports that were built on the premise, oh, look, the NFL, NBA, let's copy that. But the NFL and the NBA were built 100 years ago almost. Not really 100, but close enough.
Sure.
Where, how would you monetize a game back then? What was your primary revenue stream? Ticket sales from the match and some hot dogs and beer, right? So how do we maximize revenues? How do we make it the best possible business? Well, let's multiply the number of matches so we open the stadium gates as often as possible and sell as many tickets as possible. So those structures that we see today that have 100-year-old tradition come from, were created and literally came from the fact that you make money if you multiply the number of games played in a season. Hence round robin in European soccer leagues. Hence the big gigantically bloated regular season in the NBA, and so on and so forth. Whereas these days, if you look at modern sports like the UFC, like the ATP, which was started in the 70s, and so on and so forth, they are built and calibrated to be the most attractive they can be to a guy that would want to wake up at 4 a.m. globally at somewhere in China, somewhere in Australia, somewhere in Canada, wherever the show is. There's somebody in the world that wants to wake up for this and watch it because it's so compelling. So the modern sports modern sports are organized in this weekend there's a global peak and you must watch, versus if you're a Chicago Bulls fan and you live in Poland or China and the game's at 2 a.m. your time or 3 a.m. your time on a Tuesday, are you really going to watch a game at 2 a.m., 3 a.m. on a Tuesday night if it's game number 31 in the regular season or game number 41 or 50 in the regular season? You're probably not going to do that. You're not going to be, it's not that compelling. So you have to realize that esports needs its own solutions around the potential and possibilities that are offered with today's technology and today's ways of making it a show and making it earn money. So I honestly feel like copying, the NFL is one of the worst things you can do for esports. And just find your own way, find your own structure, find whatever works for you. Don't be constrained by things that have been around for 100 years, because those things in all likelihood were shaped by the conditions that they had at the time. So probably there was radio back then, but there was no live streaming, there were no cell phones, no Facebook, no Starlink, none of that stuff. So why would you copy solutions from a century ago when you can actually do something new, modern, and be ahead of the time rather than, a century in the past? So my advice would be, think outside of the box, think in the abstract, don't be swayed by what people have done in the past, because very often that's a false friend.
Definitely. I've had a discussion with some of the other people in our community about, if you did want to get more attention onto the game, if you did want to get more eyeballs, as many people playing in any given match, any given tournament, anything, should be streaming as possible, as many of them as possible, because then you're influencing people's personality. Like, we follow sports stories because of the personalities of some people, and the more personalities you have, the more choices you have of someone that you want to follow and you want to find interesting and all that kind of stuff. Additionally, it shows a committedness to the event, and it shows that people are willing to put in this time and effort and structure to make it something a little more grandiose. But that's just my 2 cents on that. So I would argue.
Do you know what the one of the core drivers of why people would watch is? What would you say it is if I asked you the question?
My personal guess would be that they want to see themselves in that position. at like a fundamental, like psychological level. They want to see themselves performing. They relate to the performer somehow and want to see themselves in their shoes. That would be my 2-cent psychiatrist view.
So it's close. I mean, there's no right or wrong answer, but I think, like, if you think of, okay, so there is the Super Bowl going on, or it's your 10-year-old's Sunday League game that's like, you're not going to miss your 10-year-old's game, even for the Super Bowl. Or maybe you would if you're a bad father, but that's a different story. But quite often you're going to have your premium pro sports experience versus your own child. You're going to watch your own child. And that proves to me that one of the main drivers of why people would watch things is not necessarily the quality of the show, but the personal relevance of the show to you.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
This is why you prefer your child, brother, sibling, whatever, over the highest possible quality of the show. This is why people follow the MLS soccer because it's relevant to their country, their city, as opposed to watching the proper football, as we call it over in Europe. Right, so it's relevance. So in order to get something, get people from outside to view, you need to try to make the players playing the game relevant to them somehow. So it could be the use of tropes and archetypes. It's a David versus Goliath. Guys, come watch this. This guy from, I don't know, Kansas is about to win his 20th tournament in the space of 3 years, and he hasn't lost. He's like the best. He's probably the best UT player of all time. Sell that story to them to go and watch, so they are compelled to watch it because it's relevant somehow. Just promote those individuals, make them compelling, make them relevant, and these guys will attract. Although I have to say, I think a game that's 25 years old is probably dead in the water anyway.
I fully agree.
Listen, like, I played Blood Bowl, and in a league where there was a half an hour rundown of every play day, who beat who, and it was a guy doing the coverage, and every YouTube video had like 20 views or something like that. He was still doing that, and I enjoyed the living crap out of it because it was about the division that I was in. So just because it's not going to be as big as Counter-Strike or League of Legends is today, that doesn't mean you shouldn't do it. You should absolutely do it, and please do let me know if there is a nice one-on-one competition that I can watch. Just don't make me watch CTF, but nice one-on-one competition.
The gauntlet's been thrown down.
I'd be very happy to show up to a stream and watch.
That's great, man. If just a very brief tangent related to what you've just been talking about. As I mentioned before, I've done a lot of stage performance, and I've seen a lot of people brand new to the stand-up comedy scene. And one of the things I always want to say to them is, your individual point of view needs to be the thing that you sell the hardest, because that is what makes people want to relate to you. Is if they share your point of view on something, they feel related to you and they feel like they want to see you succeed. And thus you will have a better time and you will be more successful because people feel that they share your point of view and they can see what you see. That is something that Go ahead.
It's also, so sorry to jump in. It's also that it's the best and only way to go out there and become successful, become a brand, become someone, because somebody you're already copying is the original. You're not going to succeed by being a copy of the original. You're just destined to be second by doing that. So I completely agree with your statement.
I think it's true not just in comedy or in games or anything. It's true of most of life. Figure out who you are and what you want and try really, really hard at it. And that's a better path forward than almost anything else. Well, this has been a fantastic interview. I really appreciate your time today. Thank you so much for taking some time out of your evening from the other side of the planet. I really do want to say thank you one more time. And yeah, if there's the floor is yours. If there's anything else that you want to say, if there's any shout outs, I'll give a quick shout out to DVP for putting this whole thing together and for coordinating between the two of us. I know he's an old time friend of yours. He's a new time friend of mine. And cheers to him. So cheers to you, and floor is yours if there's anybody else that you want to say thanks to.
So I have to say, I mean, it's possible that a number of people watch this that I haven't spoken to in a very, very long while. Unreal Tournament has been my gateway into the life that I have. Unreal Tournament has been the gateway into the life that's allowed me to live the kind of life I never thought I could ever have. And to buy my parents a new place and help my family and ensure that my kids, wouldn't need anything necessarily. I can show them the world and they're not hungry. And this was the gateway. And if it wasn't for all the people I've met along the way, and that took me under their wing and helped me and talked to me and showed me how to play and allowed me to learn from them and from their experiences, or help me in one way or another. It gave me their time. I think at times I was a massive shithead, so apologies to anyone I've been a shithead to, but I'm so grateful I've met everyone along the way, and that whoever gave me a minute of their time, it's definitely not forgotten. The only reason I'm not coming here with a list of names is because I didn't prepare to answer this question, so I don't want to omit anyone. But people along the way have been so kind to me and so helpful, from the people online to the people that literally told me, come to my city, you can sleep in my place and I'll take care of you. That's how I saw Milan for the first time. So anybody that I've met along the way in UT and otherwise, thanks very much. It's been a formative experience for me as a young man. It's allowed me to see the world. It's allowed me to become a professional and a much better person. And hopefully I'll see you and I'll talk to you sometime. And if you feel like it, just ping me and say hello on social media. Probably know how to find me. That was a very long one, but
that's great,
thanks
though, man.
very
Thank
much.
you so much. All right, well, thank you everybody for tuning in, and until next time, have a good game.
When you find your boundaries, and in order to be better than somebody else, you have to cross to the other side and find the better version of you. And this is a feeling that is probably the best feeling in the world. Because this is a feeling that nobody can give you. You have to fight for it. You have to earn it. You have to be stubborn. You have to persevere. You have to put your life towards achieving that goal. And you have to make sacrifices. This is why some people, for that feeling, dedicate their entire life to feel that feeling over and over and over again, because this is what champions do.